Guys, hello guys, and welcome to of Alex McCarthy, all things wrestling with my good friend Joe Copson. We've been away for a couple of weeks, but I've been a busy man. So, how about you give me a break?
Hiatus.
Hiatus, 2-week hiatus. Since we come back from the Royal Rumble, basically, I've had so much content and interviews, and on top of that, the launch of Talk Wrestling on Talk Sport 2. I should state, which we just wrapped the show tonight. It's a phone-in show. It's been going really well. 4 episodes deep. Joe is like a season ticket caller.
I need to start coming up with like a pseudonym, don't I? Like a
People are going to catch on, man.
I can go Joseph.
But it's been a real busy period for us across all fronts, and it's not getting any quieter. On WrestleMania season, got Rhea Ripley on the phone tomorrow. And then next week, what we got? Saudi Arabia for WWE. We got AEW Revolution. Then we're into March, Elimination Chamber, and coming up to Mania, NXT UK Dublin. There's so much going on, man.
Go.
But that's good. That's what we want. But
They want the content.
What we thought we'd do today, rather than wax lyrical about NXT Takeover, which we easily could. We just thought maybe we'd switch it up a little bit and just do a little Q&A and some things that people may or may not want to know about my endeavours in the industry. So I'm going to let Joe...
We might delve into your personal life as well. You never know.
Feel free. Let Joe, you can be the quiz master per se.
Master of the ceremonies.
Indeed, you're poor man Andy Shepherd.
We are... We're going to come in, obviously, with we'll start with a wrestling one, just to ease ourselves in. Lewis Dangor has come with a wrestler who surprised you the most, and he's kind of carried on with that, with perhaps because they were far nicer than what you expected, for whatever reason.
Yeah, loads of those. First of all, Lewis is a good young egg. He works for Wrestle Talk, and he's actually going to come do a bit of work experience with me before Mania. There's a little fact for you. There I am, guiding the next generation of stars, Joe. But yeah, there's loads. There's so many. You see some heels on TV that are really like vicious and nasty, and you know it's a character, but then they play it so well, or you hear that they are a bit of a prick. Like I've never met Brock Lesnar or Randy Orton, but I imagine them to be a bit prickish.
I would never want to meet Brock Lesnar. I'm surprised.
No. But yeah, from afar, I love them both, and I've heard stories to the contrary of that thought. But to actually answer the question, Rhea Ripley was. Both times I've interviewed her, super super nice, and the first time I interviewed her, she was just defending the title against Toni Storm, Blackpool 1, and she was just coming off being like the nastiest piece of work ever, who relished Tegan Knox's knee. Do you remember that, the Mae Young Classic and that whole injury debacle?
Yeah.
But she is just a character. She is lovely. Becky Lynch is maybe the loveliest person ever. Every time I've had her, she's super over the top nice. I don't mean that to a fault, but I'm just saying super, super nice. But I haven't actually interviewed her since she's been the man, so I don't know whether she'd attempt to be nasty to me or not. But she was always super nice. I've had a few different superstars who I've had them a few times, and then they're just different. Like Sheamus, the first time I had him on the phone, he was nice. Then the first time I had him in the flesh, he was with Cesaro, and he wasn't as nice. He was obviously just joking around, didn't really care. Yeah. Then I sat down with him maybe like a month ago now, and he was so cool, told me how much he enjoyed it and stuff after, and we spoke before and after. So that's cool.
I'll say obviously I've been with you for a couple of interviews. I was trying to think of any that stood out. I suppose one, it wasn't necessarily, not that we were kind of generalizing this person as being a bad interviewer, but I remember it was one of your first interviews actually with Seth Rollins, and I remember we walked into the room and he wasn't exactly the happiest guy, obviously due to their schedule. But
yeah,
he did. To be fair to him, he did then kind of open up a bit and become a bit more involved. But yeah, I remember that.
I think you're right. Like I remember with the Rollins one, it was someone was like, yeah, he just got off a plane. He's hardly had any sleep, and then like he's literally just got to his room, and then I'm coming in to chat to you for 20 minutes about stuff that he doesn't really want to talk about. But and I said this on Twitter not long ago when I was revealing a little bit of what people are like. He's such like a wrestling fan that once we started chatting about things, he just enjoyed it really. I don't even know. I don't think it's as much a testament to me as an interviewer as it is to just his love for wrestling. Do you know what I mean?
Or me doing the fantastic lighting that day.
I mean, it was mood lighting.
Yeah. set the mood. Right. Yeah. Let's move on. We'll carry on with a couple of wrestling ones. West Ham for Life has said, do you think there should be just one world title? As one question, and his second question is, and why is Sami Zayn not being used properly? Double-edged.
So the world title one's hard because I prefer it when there's one champion, but it just doesn't really work across two brands to have one champion who has to then, when they first did the inaugural undisputed champion, it just didn't really work. Like you'd have a number one contender on one show. And then the other show just kind of did nothing until that was done. And then and I also think it gives other people a chance to be the world champion who otherwise maybe wouldn't. So yeah, I'd like it to be one, but I don't think it will be. What was the other question?
It was why is Sami Zayn not being used properly?
Well, I mean, you could ask that about anyone, couldn't you? That's hard for me to decipher. But
okay, well, maybe we should say what. Maybe we should spin that a bit and say what potential could you see Sami Zayn doing?
No, Sami Zayn's great. He's an awesome talker, fantastic performer. He's as well rounded as you could hope for. Like if you were signing someone, fantastic. I could perfectly believe him in a top level program, and they've had him in different spurts and spells, doing stuff around the mark that he deserves. But it's a tough one. Like apparently he wanted to show more of his personality, so that's why he volunteered to create this group that he has at the moment. Yeah. It's good sometimes to freshen up and step away because he was treading water, unfortunately. So he needs a bit of a reboot, and I really hope he gets it because there's definite talent there. I'd miss him if there was no Sami Zayn.
Obviously, we've seen from his time in NXT and the feuds he had there, the matches at takeovers he's had. He's arguably up there as technically.
It's just one of them where maybe he doesn't resonate with Vince as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, you look at him compared to their tippy top talent. And this isn't me talking. This is me hypothesizing. Yeah. Maybe he just doesn't look or have the presence of what they would bill as a world champion.
Yeah, it's true. That is true. Let's go back to kind of interview questions. Who are your top 3 wrestlers you wish you could interview?
The Rock, number 1. Anybody who knows me at all knows that's like bucket list stuff to me. Yeah. He's like the whole reason I love wrestling. Well, I started to love wrestling. Me and my gran literally like bonded over The Rock. So he's like special to me beyond even the means of wrestling. So him, Cena. I'd love to pick Cena's brain. And like I would say Vince, but it would just never happen. So maybe like a Randy Orton or someone like below the very very top tier. Yeah, I've had like the vast majority, like maybe like 85 to 90%. So and there's only a few I haven't really touched, but the Rock is like the dream.
Let's. I've got a question. I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to come in hot with a question. Okay. You can't. I mean, you kind of just answered it. So, but I kind of want you to elaborate on it. So, we're quite similar in terms of when we started watching wrestling. We obviously started watching wrestling Attitude Era. Yeah. So obviously you just said The Rock was kind of one of the main reasons you fell in love with watching wrestling. What was it about him or the time that what made you think, "Oh, this is like something I really like. This is something I could be passionate about"?
I think I was quite a boisterous child anyway. Like I was like a bundle of energy, and wrestling. It's very hard to explain to people here in like a vacuum. But wrestling was like red hot. Like everyone knew about wrestling. Like around our age in school, everyone knew about wrestling. And it was like the cool thing to know about.
Yeah.
I remember Warzone, the game, and all of that stuff. Like,
Good game.
People were into wrestling heavy. So it's kind of, I remember like my mum would go out and with my godmother, and her kids would come around, and we'd sit there and we'd watch. It was like the little black cable box that just had like red numbers on it. So it wasn't even like proper. Like, it wasn't like Sky Digital or anything like that. It was like the cable before that.
Yeah.
And on, I think 15, which was Sky Sports 1, was Raw on a Friday night at 10. And on 16, which was TNT, I think it was 16, it was Nitro. So you would kind of flick back and forth. But I never really gravitated to Nitro the same way. I remember seeing The Rock and Mick Foley going at it. And I just thought The Rock was like as soon as I saw him, he first of all, he looked great.
Yeah.
He looked like a star. And I know it's probably annoying to people when you hear that phrase, but it's a real thing. And his charisma, he's still today like one of the most entertaining people. I just couldn't stop watching him. And then to put on top of that all of his catchphrases, and he was like nasty to people, but he was so cool.
Yeah.
It was just he had that perfect mix.
Do you want to have? You might already know the answer to this. Do you want to have a guess of who got me into wrestling?
What was in The Wrestler?
Yeah.
I feel like as your best friend, I should know.
You should. I'm sure. I've got a feeling we've spoken about this before, but
Attitude Era.
Who?
Attitude Era,
yeah. Yeah.
It's bugging me. All right, okay. Are they like a world champion?
No.
Is it like X-Pac?
No.
Jesus.
I feel like when I tell you, you'll be like, "Oh."
Okay, go on then.
Jeff Hardy.
Oh no!
You did know.
I did know. I did know you had a deep. I thought your affection for Jeff started later, like with
he was. So it kind of leads me on to the next question. I will just do like a quick one. My first, I want to say, did I watch Raw before that? But I remember my first pay-per-view was St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Off the top of my head, I can't even remember if Jeff Hardy was on the card. But the match that I first remember was obviously Stone Cold in the cage. So that leads into another good question: is what was the first match you remember watching? The one that kind of sticks out from when you used to watch it years and years ago.
So I know that I was watching it around like the Montreal Screwjob. I remember bits and pieces of that happening, but not understanding what it meant. Like as far as I knew, it's just like Bret Hart's gone. Okay. But the first match I can remember almost in its entirety, like really watching it, was a ladder match that The Rock had with Mick Foley, and I want to say it was on Raw for the title. And Big Show comes out and destroys Mick Foley, and I'm saying that, and I'm like, did that happen?
He just made like in history, just kind of booked your own match.
Yeah.
That sounds quite good. We'll go with that.
Did I make it up? I'm literally googling it right now.
I can't remember that. But
hang on,
your knowledge is better than mine.
The day it was a day. That's the day after the St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
There you go.
On Raw.
What are the odds, hey? The best friends started watching it. That's the first rough time that we started watching it. Yeah, I can't even remember if Jeff Hardy was on that card for the pay-per-view. I'm assuming he was, but I remember watching Austin that day.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go with let's move away from wrestling.
Okay.
We have a question about gaming. What games are you good at / love playing?
I don't know if I'm good at any games anymore. It's been really painful.
This is a good answer.
So I used to be really good at COD, like once upon a time, the Modern Warfare, the original one.
What was our ratio on that one? Well, it was 2 point something, wasn't
it? Mine was 3 something.
Oh,
I was like, at one point on Xbox, I was in like the top 3,000 in the world or so, which doesn't actually sound that high.
Yeah.
But it is, like, extremely high. So at that point, I was like really good and I loved COD. And then I've been really hit and miss with COD ever since. So like, Joe, you'll know, because for those who don't know, me and Joe are avid gamers together online.
Yeah.
And the COD before this one, I can't remember what it was called now.
Advanced War? No, it wasn't.
Black Ops. Was it Black Ops?
3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was pretty good at that one. You were better, but I was pretty good. Like, I generally got positive scores. I think my kill to death ratio was maybe like 1.5 ish.
Yeah.
Or, no, I think it was more like 1.2. Yours was more like 1.5. This one on crap. That's the bottom line.
Crud.
Yeah, like my kill to death ratio is like 0.73.
But we have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I have fun. I love gaming. I don't know. I was really good at the NBA game at one point. I
remember your creative character was was a
7 foot beast.
A specimen, let's say.
Yeah, he was. My missus loves it when it's like McCarthy.
That's annoying when you used to play FIFA, because my surname, you always used to have McCarthy, so if you made yourself, he was like, McCarthy.
Yeah, Benny McCarthy sorted me right out.
There was no Copsons, so I think the closest we had was Coppola
on the ball.
So yeah, we love COD. What about I mean, I know the answer to this, but what about like single player story? You love your story driven single player games.
I do. I don't really have the time for them anymore. Now that I have 2 girls, because to get immersed in those is like a slog. But I do. So The Last of Us is probably my favourite game ever in that department, and Dying Light is probably second. So for anyone who knows those games, yes, I like zombies. But me and Joe like zombies very much. Okay.
Yeah, we like getting zombies.
I just enjoy those games. GTA is a fantastic game. I would love a new one. So I think those are like my favourite ones. But I do love a good campaign on anything, if I'm honest.
You do that. Right, let's finish off with one more wrestling question. Someone has asked, what has been your favourite event to go to, as in live? What's been your favourite wrestling event live to go to so far?
Jesus. I don't want to make this sound like I'm super privileged that I've been to like every show there's ever been. But I've been to a lot of shows, even before I did it for a living, and people gave me tickets to go to shows, which they do now. You and I obviously went to Raw. Like, I mean, I think at this point it's like, I think we missed 1 year maybe, but it's like 10 years in a row. Yeah. But I think we missed like 1 year. And 1 year we went twice, because we went to the house show as well, the one where Cena like blew the roof off.
Oh, Cena v Del Rio, like a house show. I've never seen that. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it was mental. So yeah, like, even before it was like my job, we were regulars. I'd say the takeovers are probably the best cards I've seen. So like NXT UK Blackpool 1 was like amazing.
Famously in the front row.
Yes, in the salmon shirt. But the Royal Albert Hall, which you and I went to, for that, when Mustache Mountain won the NXT tag titles, it's like, because obviously when you watch wrestling for so long, you become you can telegraph a lot, because you
become savvy, don't you, to kind of what's going to happen.
I don't want to use the term smart fan, but it's a bit like that. Yeah. And I didn't see a switch coming at all. No. And then when they actually, it was one of those moments where and you just know they built it so well, because you were like, oh my God, they're going to do it. And I remember me and you going, seriously, they're going to win. They're actually going to win. And then when it happens, literally the whole arena exploded.
The best thing was about that, like you were just saying, like you believe something's going to happen, But then you're like, oh, hold on, they made it. They done the match so well. You're sitting there like, well, hold on, they actually could do it. But then you're like, nah, it's not gonna happen.
They won't.
And then the best thing was when they counted the 3. Like everyone in the crowd, like around us, like everyone was turning to people like absolute strangers, complete strangers. And, oh my god, like high fiving. Like, oh, everyone was going. Literally, the atmosphere after that for a good 10 minutes. Because I remember they ran and jumped into the crowd, didn't they? Mustache Mountain. They were like celebrating for ages. And I'm sure I read, or you might have told me, or someone somewhere was like, from the back, Triple H saying to them, just go out and just celebrate as much as possible. And I remember that, running around over the railings and all sorts. But
I mean, that really sticks out to me because it kind of caught me by surprise and I felt it. Do you know what I mean? But obviously Edge's return, the Hardy Boys return, Mania and Royal Rumble respectively, amazing. So I'm really glad that I've done like 3 of the big 4. I still haven't done Survivor Series. I'm sure I will down the road, but normally that's my go-to when I think of most memorable moment. Those comebacks, but the Royal Albert Hall always sticks out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you've been to a lot more than me, but that was, so we went to Cardiff together, which was still a very, very good atmosphere. But yeah, I don't think
that was rocking. That was but when the Welsh Boys won the tag titles, that was amazing.
That was good, yeah. But I think just because of the pure surprise element / elation of watching Mustache Mountain win the titles, that will take a lot to beat. And like you say, I know you've seen some big things like the Hardys and stuff, but I think obviously being British,
means a little bit more, maybe.
It does.
Yeah, but anyway, we digress. I mean, hopefully, we'll be going. We're planning to go together to Dublin. That's the hope. The takeover. We will plot. And yeah, so obviously that will probably be our next event, and then Raw comes, and SmackDown will come to the O2 for that double header in May, which
we'll be there.
And we love our little pre-party at the
O2. Pre-party at Nando's.
It's Nando's, and then it's free drinks that the WWE love to lay on. But so anyway, I guess we'll thank the fine people for watching us just talk rubbish about questions tonight.
A fine caliber of questions to get us going.
Yeah, indeed. We still have loads of interviews to come on the channel in the next couple of weeks. Like I said, Rhea Ripley tomorrow, and then there's going to be more and more stuff coming as we edge closer to the next pay-per-views.
Where can they find this? Where can they find this YouTube channel? Give me some name. What's the name?
Yes, I think now I've got because I've got like 370 subscribers.
Dizzy height.
You just type in Alex McCarthy.
Oh,
bam, bam!
So
I'm there.
Have you surpassed the Southampton goalkeeper?
If he gets a channel, I've had it.
There's the other guy as well who always pops up on your Twitter. He's like, "Hey, I'm Alex McCarthy as well."
Yeah. He said to me so many times, "Are we going to do a podcast together?" And I'm like, I don't know. I've got a lot going on, man. But yeah. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm Alex M_Talksport, and Joseph is
at Joe_Copson.
So you know where to find us. I am working on some big guests for Talk Wrestling next week on TalkSport 2. So please do make sure you support that show too. But until then, thank you very much for watching.
Cheers, guys.